they were merely placeholders. He knew that God had told him he was going to have this land, and God solidified that in the promise that God gave him. He told him, Abraham, in the due season, I'm going to bring your people out. In the due season, Abraham, hallelujah, my blessings and my promises go before you. My blessings and my promises go beyond your lifespan. My blessings and my promises will cause you to be blessed. Hallelujah. Abraham knew that God was going to remove the placeholders in his time. He knew that. Abraham recognized whose land it was. And he knew that the Amorites were just occupiers of the land. Occupiers have no legal right. They're squatters. They have no legal right to what they're occupying. Even if you are an invading army and you occupy a place, you have no legal right to it. You're just there for a time period. Oh my God, my God. You're just there for a time period. Hallelujah. When we invaded Afghanistan, when we invaded Germany, oh my God, let me bless you with here. Look. The thing about occupiers is that when occupiers go in and take up so-called possession of the land, they're bound to have to improve it. When the U.S. left Panama, we'd been there for almost 100 years. In the treaty that was signed for the U.S. to leave Panama, we had to do a whole bunch of things. We had to clean up some things. We had to build some buildings. We had to do a whole bunch of things in the treaty that we had signed to leave Panama. We were not the rightful owners of the land. We were merely occupiers of the land. We were merely occupiers of the land. There's some people who have some occupiers on their land and you don't even know how to remove them from that land. But God is here to tell you, I'm here to tell you that God will teach you how to remove the occupiers, the placeholders off what is rightfully yours. We must also be careful of not becoming placeholders, along with those who are holding the place for us. The children of Israel slowly became like the placeholders. They slowly became like the Amorites, the Hittites, and the Jebusites. They slowly became like the Perizzites. They slowly became like the placeholders. They slowly became like the placeholders. And in the due process of time, God Almighty removed them from the land, because you got to be careful. You have got to be a transformer, not a conformer. You cannot rest in the things that the world is doing. You cannot join up and yoke up yourself with evil and expect God to bless you. You cannot say, I'm going to go and do this, and then say, God bless my mess. Oh my. See, when God blesses you, he puts you into a stewardship assignment. So saying, he put you into a stewardship assignment. A stewardship assignment. In other words, God said, I have not given over this to you, but I'm going to watch you and see what you do with what I gave you. You cannot strive to be those who previously held the position, though. Oh, but the children of Israel strive to become like the Amorites, the Hittites, the Abbatites, and all those other ites. They strive to become all of those folks instead of being who God had called them to be. God called them to be a holy people. He called them to be a set-aside people. He called them to be a change maker. He called them to be someone who would cause the evil to fall off the land instead of joining in with the evil. You got to be very careful, because you have some friends that are Amorites and Jebusites that will pull you into their mess instead of you pulling them out of their mess. You saying, I'm going into the mess because I'm going to pull them out. But there's some things that are involved in their life, some spiritual issues that they're facing, that you're not strong enough yet in order to pull them out of the situation. You better get closer to God. But when you go into a stewardship assignment, you cannot strive to be who previously held the position. Because if they previously held the position, there has to be a reason that the phrase previously is used. Previous, unlike former, do not get the benefits of being there once. We call presidents former, not previous, because presidents who are former presidents still get benefits. Our former presidents still get salary. Our former presidents still get medical and dental. Our former presidents still get Secret Service protection. Former is not the same as present. Former is not the same as present, but former is not forgotten. Former is not forgotten. Previous may be forgotten. Former is written in the history books. Former may have their pictures on the wall, but previously is soon forgotten. When you are the one who's in the position, you must be in it for the purpose of changing things for the better. You got to be in it for the purpose of changing things for the better. The better is when God is allowed to speak to you. When God speaks through you, that's when the better comes about, telling you what to do. We are called to be transformers and not conformers in this world. You can conform to the things of this world. You cannot conform to the things of the world. You must make a change in the things of this world in order to be called a children of God. How can you be peculiar if you're acting just like somebody who's been there all the time? How can you be a difference and a change agent if all you're going to do is be a conforming agent? My God, my God. You must make a change in those that you encounter and not compromise with what is wrong, not covet the ways or be transformed into who the placeholders is. When God spoke to Samuel, Samuel was the last judge of Israel. God spoke to Samuel because Samuel was grieving what the children of Israel were doing. He was like, I am just, God, they have rejected me. They have rejected me. They said they want a king. They want to be like the nations around them. They want to be like the nations around them. God said, no, they haven't rejected you, Samuel. They rejected me because I'm their king. Huh? They want to be like the nations that were around them, the people who had kings around them. Huh? They want to be like everybody else that was around them, but God called them out of that. God called them a peculiar people. He called them a royal priesthood. God called them out of it. We got to be very careful because we'll lose our peculiarity trying to be like everybody else. Right. We'll lose our strangers trying to be like everybody else. Oh my God. See, people got to understand that, hallelujah, that interceding Christian center is a strange place with a strange pastor. Strange. Weird. I'm weird. I'm different. Hallelujah. I'm different. I got to be different. I got to be different because there are some things that God has placed me through, that I went through. There's some things that I have been able to see. Blessed be to God, of course. Some things I've been able to see that I'm able to help somebody. There are some people who are out there in the street that I know I can't reach, but there are some people who are on the street that I know I can reach. Therefore, I got to be different. I got to be strange. I'm weird. I'm sorry. Go ahead. So the people of God got to understand that we cannot be transformed into who the placeholder is. The placeholders that God spoke of in Genesis 15 actually comprised others who were inhabitants in the land by the time the 400 years had went by. The Lord specifically named them in Deuteronomy 20. He said, don't be like the Hittites, kick them out, utterly destroy the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. God said, destroy them, utterly destroy them, remove them, totally remove them from the land. Look. As pretty as my lawn is a lot of times, there are every now and then a weed will pop up. Like, bust up. And I watch it for a day or two, Elder Adrian. I watch it. And if I watch it for too long, it'll be another one pop up somewhere. Keep on watching, another one pop up. And it pop up in different places. You wouldn't even realize that the one that popped up in the middle of the yard is related to the one that popped up on the end. But some way, somehow, it's like poison. Poison don't care how it comes at you. It attacks wherever it can get. So when the weeds pop up, those weeds begin to spread seeds. And when their seeds spread in the wind, their seeds begin to eventually cover entire area. So when something pops up, it beholds you to go out there and pluck it up by the roots. Stop pulling at the leaves. Wow. Amen. This story here talks about the conquering children of Israel. It talks about in the storyline, we come into a place whereas Joshua, a great leader of Israel, had lost the battle. They had just beat Jericho soundly. Yeah. For the blessings of God had caused them to beat Jericho soundly. The walls had fallen down around Jericho. Huh? They had just beat them. And then when they got ready to go up against AI, whatever you want to call it, they got ready to go against AI. They realized there was only 3,000 or 4,000 people in AI. They had an army with hundreds of thousands. Hundreds of thousands of people. So they said, well, Joshua, let everybody else rest. We'll just take 5,000 or 6,000 because we know we'll wipe them up with the 5,000 or 6,000. But they got beat. Huh? They got beat like the Cowboys gonna beat the Steelers today. They got beat. They got beat. Beat down, beat, tore up. They got beat by less. Huh? They got beat because it was the victim raised up and beat the bully. They got beat because they had lost sight of something. They had lost sight that God was the one who gave them the ability to defeat in the first place. They had lost sight because God told them, touch not the accursed thing. Don't bring the accursed thing into the camp. Because if you bring the accursed thing into the camp, hallelujah, I'm going to take revenge against you. See, you need to leave some things out of your camp. Stop driving everything pulling into your camp of operation. You need to take some things out of your house. There's some things in your house that are accursed, and it may look pretty, it may look like it goes great with your decor, but I'm here to tell you that it is causing a rift between you and God. That's right. Thank you, Holy Spirit. They were stronger, Sister Sims, faster, tougher. They was like the $6 million man taking on Jimmy, what's the guy, the wrestler named Jimmy Hart? Huh? They was like the $6 million man taking on Jimmy Hart. But they got beat. Huh? Living at AI were not the rightful owners. They were placeholders. They were placeholders living at AI. It's a sad state of affairs when the napkin gets off the plate and beats the plate up. Huh? It's a sad state of affairs when you come into a situation such as that. I.e. beat them. After they beat him soundly, Joshua said, there's got to be a reason. It ain't just happenstance. There's got to be a reason. See, you're asking yourself right now, Lord, why I'm going through this? Oh, let me stop, Pastor. Why am I going through this? Why am I going through this problem? Why am I going through a situation? Why does things not fall my way? See, there's some times that you need to stop and look at the source of the situation. You need to stop and look at yourself. There's some times where God needs to reveal you to you so that you know that the problem isn't the world. The problem isn't those people around you. It's not your friend. It's not that boss that hates you. It's not that sibling that won't do right by you. It's not that husband, not even that wife. Sometimes the problem resides in you. Oh, my God, my God, my God, my God. But see, the man agent who was the one who stole the accursed item, the man agent had became a placeholder. The man agent wanted the accursed thing. The man agent wanted to conform to the things that the people were doing in that place. So he became a placeholder. Oh, my God, my God. You got to be careful. You can't have a compromising spirit. Allowing sin for the sake of harmony is not biblical. I'm just going to get along with them. I'm going to do what they do so I'll be alone. I'm going to celebrate the holidays they celebrate. Oh, up until this year, I hadn't celebrated no Halloween in a long time. Still didn't celebrate this year. But when they came to my door, I gave them pretty babies candy. Parents, most of the time, I noticed that the parents, they wouldn't come up there with the children. That's crazy anyway. There's something symbolic about that. When the parents are sending their kids off up to a stranger's door. There's something symbolic about that. There's a danger in that. But when they came to my door, and I said door, I know how to say door. They got candy, and I waved to mom and daddy. I even saw some Promised Land people. I waved to mom and daddy. How did I say their name? Bless you. And the one lady who came up to the door, one or two, one came to the door and she came up to the door. Her daughter tripped over the flower bed, and I was like, Lord, I got insurance, but I want to make it clean. Let me help that baby up. I almost jumped out there in front of her to keep from hitting the ground. Let me help that baby up. And when I helped the baby up and stuff, the one was so kind and appreciative, and I gave the baby hands full of candy, and I gave her 3 tracts. I said, Precious, I don't celebrate this. And you need to teach your children the same thing. Because if you don't teach them the same thing, then they're going to be a part of the problem instead of a part of the solution. They're going to carry on traditions of years and generations of curses going to come upon them. I didn't tell her all that, but bless her heart, she got the picture. So we got to be very careful not to try to get along just to get along with sin. Because sin never creates harmony. Sin works to destroy. It may be just below or beneath the radar, but nonetheless it works to win you over to its side. And if sin can't win you over, sin will try to run you over. Woo-wee. Oh, stop, Pastor. No, I'm not. If sin cannot win you over, it will try to run you over. LGBT. Huh? If it cannot win you over, it will try to run you over. You got to be careful not to conform to sin or even be in agreement with sin. See, you get it wrong. See, you're supposed to hate the sin and not the sinner. You get it wrong where you end up hating both. You need to take and separate the sin from the sinner, but you cannot compromise and say, you gonna do your thing, baby. No, you need to say, look, I love you, and this is why I'm telling you this. My God, my God. If sin can't win you over, it will run you over. I was listening to a sermon the other day. This pastor pointed out how we compromise by not putting sin out of the camp. Then we become the ones that God says to put out. He used the story of Judges 19 to explain how if we stand against sin and will not compromise or join in with the sin, then the sinners will eventually turn on us. Huh? They will eventually turn on us. This is what happened with the LGBT people. Because they were so much more vocal than we were. And because we would not compromise and say, oh, it's okay for you to marry that if you want to marry that. Because we would not compromise and say that whatever God says does not matter. Because we would not compromise and say, well, the church got to change. That's what Hillary said. We would not compromise and say that. They were so vocal. They got to the point where they're violent in their attempt to get their ungodly way. In their reprobateness, they became so bold as to challenge even God himself. See, live and let live is just a cop-out. It's a cop-out. You can tell somebody they're wrong and yet still love them. Oh, stop, Pastor. But you will eventually find yourself in the camp if you don't put them out the camp. Huh? You find yourself right in cahoots with them. Let me point out something. Somebody get Genesis 12. No, Genesis 13, matter of fact. Then somebody get Genesis 19. Get Genesis 13. Go down to verse 12. Genesis 13. I'm going to point out something to you. We're talking about this danger of getting caught up in other people's foolishness. Somebody, when you get Genesis 12, Genesis 13, 12, read it. Stop. Keep that in mind. Abraham dwelt one place. Lot dwelt another place. Lot pitched his tent where? Towards where? Oh, okay. Genesis 19, verse 1.
And there came two angels to Sodom at eve, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom.
Okay, stop. Hold on. Now, Elder Felicia, did you say that Lot did what with his tent?
He dwelt in the cities and plain and pitched his tent
toward where? As far so hold on now. Now that was chapter 13, right? That was chapter 13. And then chapter 19, what does it say? What?
Lot sat in the gate.
What you say? So Lot went from pitching his tent towards Sodom to being in Sodom. He wasn't just a regular citizen of Sodom. He had the keys to the city because he was standing in the gate of Sodom. You got to be very careful, because if you pitch your tent toward a certain direction, you'll find yourself in the midst of the foolishness of the situation. Lot had went from being just an outsider outside the wall to being the DJ and the bouncer in the club. He went from being just somebody who said, oh, I wish I could go to the club this weekend. Oh, I'm going to go to the club this weekend. To being someone who not only went to the club, he went to be someone who's the bouncer at the club. My God. Hallelujah. We got to be careful. We got to be careful, because we'll find ourselves in the same situation, being a prominent citizen, even a gatekeeper of the club. Huh? What I found found about placeholders.